So we're continuing our conversation with Megan. And Megan, during this ordeal, if you want to call it that, this journey, the healthcare community, you learned a lot about it. I'm not talking about the doctors and nurses as individuals, but the way you have to navigate it pretty much on your own. Mm-hmm. Because I think there are some people that think that if the doctor says something, that's it, okay? But even before you got your first diagnosis and they said, oh, it's postpartum blues or you know, you just had a baby and whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, you had 2 other kids. You knew that this wasn't the same feeling. Would you tell other people to question, to...
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you are right in saying that, you know, for about 3 months I was told it's postpartum anxiety, it's postpartum stress, it's acid reflux because you're eating at different times, feeding the baby and whatnot. And I said, you know, I've had 2 other kids, I've had postpartum anxiety. This is not postpartum anxiety. So I went one day and said, I need to see someone and I need to make tests. I want tests done today. So they gave me blood tests. The blood tests revealed that my liver enzymes were strikingly high, so they thought that it was going to be my gallbladder that they were looking to remove. So they gave me a CT, an MRI or a CT to look at those things. And when they did the CT, they came out saying that it was stage 4 cancer, colon cancer, and it had already spread to my liver, and my liver was covered in metastases.
Okay. And this is because you took the initiative to demand that test.
I had to. At the 3-month or around there mark, I felt awful. It wasn't myself. I couldn't stand during lunch duty. I would eat and I felt so full, and that wasn't normal to me. And I finally said, I've had enough of this. I need blood work. Something needs to get done, whether it's blood work. I don't know what the tests are, but whether it's blood work, whether it's, you know, a scan of some sort, it needs to happen.
My father used to say, and it's the first time I heard the word a lot, but you tell me if it's the same word. He said, the pain of cancer is, he used the term excruciating. Is that a good word?
I would say yes, in multiple forms. Not just pain in the physicalness of itself, but in the whole well-being that it creates inside your body. Your mental health, your overall well-being day to day, but the physical pain. A lot of people say to me every day, oh my God, you look so good. I look good, but inside you don't know the pain that I'm feeling on a daily basis.
Right now. Does this cleanse you a little bit? This talking into this camera?
About it, yes. Not many people like to talk about it, and I'll be honest, there's only certain people I will talk about it with, this openly. Mm-hmm. If people ask, I don't mind. I'll talk about it, but
because your words need to be heard.
I'm one too that doesn't like to show my emotions, because to me that's a sign of failure. Not working, or saying I quit, or that I don't want chemo treatments anymore, things like that. To me, that's a sign of giving up, and I don't like that. That's not me.
Okay, so let's talk about those treatments. You went from the healthcare community in Worcester, mm-hmm. and really, did they refer you to Boston, or did you have to find it all out on your own?
So I started out, my colonoscopy was done in Worcester, and they then I went to my PCP. My PCP, who is based out of Shrewsbury, helped to do a lot of the work to navigate, to find a doctor within the Dana-Farber network. So for a while, I was being seen by Dana-Farber. So I worked with Dana-Farber for a little bit, and then the Dana-Farber surgeon basically said to me, we have no further treatment for you. Go look at the HII pump, Y90, and one other thing. And he basically walked out of the room. So there was no here, this is a treatment called HII. Yeah. They don't offer it here. Please go look at it here, or this is this treatment. We don't offer it. But it was literally...
So
go check these out, and he walked out of the room.
The bedside manner of that person would not get an A. Go back to your teaching.
No, not according to me.
To your teaching category.
No.
And that's common with surgeons anyway.
Correct.
They have no
He barely looked at
compassion.
me the whole
look you
conversation and said, and then like literally dropped his folder on the my chart, I'm assuming, on the desk and walked out. So after that, I took it in my own hands and researched what this HAI pump thing was. I was told by a friend of mine to go onto this Facebook page called Colon Town, which I suggest anyone facing colon cancer to go on. It's run by doctors, lawyers, advocates of colon. It's not like a random Facebook page, and they have a whole page dedicated to this HII pump. So I learned more about it through them, learning that it was offered at MSK, which is Memorial Sloan Kettering in New
York City.
Yeah, in New York City. So I contacted, along with my PCP, she helped me contact them.
Okay, so now you're in New York, and you're going back and forth. Worcester area to New York, it's depending upon the time of day. It could be a 3-hour trip. It could be a 6-hour trip.
Correct, yep.
And when you're coming out of New York after a treatment, you're beat to hell, aren't you?
Right. It first started as regular chemo, and then in October, they did surgery where they inserted the hepatic pump, and they did a colectomy. So I have a scar down my whole front, where that's from the colectomy, where they took out the colon cancer, which was located roughly right underneath my breast, and then they inserted the hepatic pump, which it looks like a hockey puck on the outside, but it's inserted inside right above your liver, and it delivers chemo directly to your liver. So it's a very hard spot right here. And after that, it has to be serviced every 2 weeks.
Okay, so you're like a piece of machine, a machine in you or near
device,
you that has to be serviced. Okay.
Yep.
So your research, you stumbled across something, right? That this is available even though Boston, which is supposed to be the medical capital of the world, Boston kicked you to the curb.
Yep.
But you're reading something on Facebook or where that said there's been a fundraising program that sends this to Mass General.
I'm trying to remember how I found it initially, but it was so I'd been having treatments at MSK. Every 2 weeks, I was going back to MSK to get the hepatic pump serviced, and then I was reading somewhere on this Colon Town page that kind of celebrating that they had installed the first hepatic pump at Mass General, which was started by a mother, a friend, and her daughter, the mother had passed away from colon cancer. So they installed the first one. Initially, they're only dealing with the flushes of it, so they weren't fully operational yet. But I was able to transfer all my care to Mass General, which was a weight lifted off my shoulders I never knew existed.
From
like you had said, not
trip.
Having to travel 3 to 6 hours every time, not feeling nauseous on a drive home, not having to rent a hotel room every time you stayed there, with the costs being anywhere from $200 on some days up to $800, up to staying with family if we were able, up to just saying, forget it, we're driving in and out in one day.
Which is hell.
Right. We found this story, so we transferred all my care, and it just, like I said, it took a weight off my shoulders I never knew existed. I knew it existed because you felt, I gotta go to New York again, you're traveling back and forth, but once I did it a few times, just the ease of dealing with it just made me so much better. It made me feel better about coming home to my kids. It wasn't like I was so stressed coming home, or they were already in bed when I came home. And the people there are fabulous. They have gone above and beyond to make me feel comfortable, to make me feel welcome. They explain everything they're doing. As much as their outcomes for my disease has not been much different. They have yet to find a solution, so to speak, to help kill or, kill some of my disease. They've been very open and honest about it, and they're still looking. They're looking for clinical trials right now. But right now, the systemic chemo is not working, and they've shut the pump off because the pump is not, they want to focus on the, it's spread to my stomach now, so they want to focus more on the spread to my stomach because that spreads faster than the liver cancer. So right now there's not much they can do other than wait for hopefully a clinical trial that I can connect with.
In the meantime, you've been the researcher that has guided your own path.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who might not be as educated as you and have those research skills, because not everybody has the guts to do what you did, Megan, as far as find
someone that you trust that might have those skills, and if not, just push your doctors, ask as many questions as you can. And again, you might not get anywhere, but as long as you feel like you're pushing and you're doing as much as you can, it might make you feel a little bit better to sleep at night than to just go home with saying, I'm sticking with the status quo from whatever they say.
Okay. So trust your gut.
Yeah.